we browned one side, we turned them over. We're starting to do a little curling, so I press them down, not a problem. And we've got another pot here with the other two. They're almost ready. Yeah. Once these brown, I'm going to bake them in here, and then we're going to go back to our rice. So the ingredients that's really important to me is, I just love rice cooked in chicken broth. It's just one of my favorite things. I'm not going to bother rinsing these. Sometimes people rinse their rice. You can do that if you like. In this particular dish, I really don't think you have to. 3 cups, do you think? Okay. You want to do enough to cover the bottom of the pan, but you don't want to do so much that you end up throwing it out. So, I really like our rice. I'm going to go ahead and do 3 cups. It'll make about 6 cups of finished rice. That's probably more than we need, but it'll make a nice coating on the bottom. And it is important to measure, because what you're going to end up doing is adding enough water to cook the rice. Sometimes I do a little bit less than the recipe might call for just when you're making rice, because there's a lot of moisture in the vegetables and juice in the meat. You're going to be around in the ballpark of 2 to 1. 2 cups of liquid to... No, isn't it 1 to 1? I think it's 1 to 1. 2 to 1. Is it really? 2 to 1. Perfect. This is lovely. Can you see this?
Hold on.
This is really nice. In fact, if you don't want to make a casserole and you just want to make pork chops, this would be delicious, but you do want to brine it first. I've found that if I don't brine them, they're kind of tough. You know? Yeah. So you could do this exact thing, stop here, have some applesauce, some leftover whatever, and you've got a nice dinner. You don't even have to go through all this stuff.
They're not really done right now.
They're not finished. No, they need to cook more if you're going to eat them. I'm going to turn the pot down because it doesn't need that hot anymore for this part. A steak would be done by now.
Yeah.
You want to keep all that fat in there, and maybe just a little bit more, because I'm not very generous with fat generally. You want it to look a little bit like, it's almost like there's just a light coating over the whole bottom. I'm going to let the oil get a little bit hotter before I add this in. If you add to cold oil, it will just like absorb into those bits. So that goes in, and then that gets stirred. And you can do that. You just kind of mix it around so it's all covered. It might be that these will all fit in here once we design our.
Because they do shrink a bit.
Because they shrink a bit. Meanwhile, I'm gonna while you watch, I'm gonna cut these tomatoes for us. They get cut a little thicker than you might for a sandwich because they're going to bake, which will shrink them. And basically, I like a slice for each chop. On the other hand, I like them so much that sometimes we end up doing extras, and I'm never sorry about that.
But if you were a person who didn't like tomatoes, you could just slide those off to the side, I'm sure.
Right, so you can make them with tomatoes, and then if you serve them to someone who says, oh, I don't really like tomatoes, they can just move it aside. This is not incorporated into the rice or anything like that. It's just like a garnish that's baked in. Yeah, so what we're doing here is stirring it so that they all get a little bit of oil. And it makes rice a little bit nuttier if it just browns a little bit in oil or butter, whatever you do. Yeah. Do I want to turn that up a bit, Steve? This way. Do we have any more? We're done? Okay, these will just melt away. Okay, so more sage, more salt, more pepper. It's really simple ingredients, really. So, sage.
I know, so you didn't put sage in the rice, huh?
Oh, do you usually? I usually don't. I usually just do this.
Okay,
and I
good.
have it on the chops.
Yeah.
I always like yours with the sage and the rice, so that's definitely an option. Really good one. And then more paprika. And a lot of pepper. Can you do the pepper for us? I really do think Mom used to just put fresh sage on top, and if she didn't put fresh sage, she put the whole leaf, which is good. This is just such a nice sagey dish. The pork chops and sage are really good friends. I think you guys already know that.
Now there was Rachel Ray. Pork chops and sage are really good friends.
Is that good?
Yeah. Okay.
More salt?
No, we're good on salt, in my view. We're gonna add some more chicken broth. Thanks for opening those for us, I have a couple things in mind. I know how much rice I've got. And I know that I don't want the broth to go above the level of the top of the chop. It will not
The
brown.
meat?
Mm-hmm. It won't brown. I can add more later if I want to. But what's gonna happen is the rice is gonna puff up in between the chops. Kind of fun. So I know I don't want to submerge them. It's not good. You'll lose that succulent business. Now, do we need to flatten that, you think? So we can get our top lid on? That's the only trouble with this pan. Yeah, that's the only trouble. There you go. The only trouble with this pan is that we've got to be able to put this lid on. And it's not a domed lid. So, that's why you do the onion second, because otherwise the tomatoes fit on top. Which is why the Le Creuset is going to be great, because it's more of a dome. And it fits really sturdy. So I guess we need a larger version of this. Okay,
It's
this
open in the sides, is that okay?
You know what's going to happen real soon? This stuff is going to start to shrink, and then I'll come back in and make sure that it's tight. So for now, just to get it starting to shrink, we're going to put it in the oven.
What temperature?
350.
And how long do you expect this will take?
With brown rice, it takes about an hour. If it were white rice, it'd be mushy in about 30 minutes, and the pork probably wouldn't be done. That's why I like to use brown rice. I know she doesn't. No worries there. So this guy's been in the oven about an hour. I had to add a little more chicken broth because my lid doesn't fit as well as yours will. But you just want to keep an eye on it. And I highly recommend not letting that rice get mushy. So a little undercooked, rather overcooked. Yeah. So here she comes. Do you want to come in here, sweetheart?
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
And the lid comes off, and there, all those nice flavors are baked into the pork. This casserole loves applesauce. Not just apples, but applesauce. See, you got a little bit of a crispy guy on the outside here. I don't mind that. But down in there, yeah, it's just the right texture. You want to taste that? That top layer got a little dry, and that's just because we had a little problem with the lid. And so what happened? But actually, that just makes it nutty.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you're just looking to make sure those kernels are fluffy and not mushy, but that they're done. And then when they're not done, you'll see that the outside, it's like a noodle. You know when a noodle's done, it's not as shiny.
I do.
Yum.
Too hot? Is it hot? Okay.